Oh, no worries, Kyrie. LeBron, as soon as that buzzer sounded, your emotions let loose. Can you describe what you're feeling right now?
I set out a goal 2 years when I came back to bring a championship to this city. I gave everything that I had. I poured my heart, my blood, my sweat, my tears to this game, and against all odds, I don't know why we want to take the hardest road. I don't know why the man above gives me the hardest road, but it's nothing a man above don't put you in situations that you can't handle. And I just kept that same positive attitude, like, instead of saying, why me, they're saying this is what he want me to do. And Cleveland, this is for you. Oh.
LeBron, you did what no other team had been able to do, coming back from a 3-1 deficit in the finals. And to do that, you had to win twice in a place that proved too much for so many teams. What did you find in Game 5 here?
Just locked in. I had to change my approach a little bit on how I approach the game. I wasn't that good in the first 2 games here in this building. I watched a lot of film, detailed it out, changed my blueprint, and we was able to put together some spectacular games after being down 3-1. History, we're in the record books. We're the first team ever to come back from a 3-1 deficit. This is special.
We'll see you in a few minutes on the...
The Bulls greeted by a portion of this foreign crowd as they try to get back to their locker room. For the Lakers, a different story. The Chicago Bulls' domination of this series has to be considered a major surprise. Mike, there was no reason to believe that the Lakers would fall apart so dramatically.
I think it was a combination of things. I'm not quite sure that everyone gave the Bulls the credit they deserved throughout the season. I think everyone felt the balance of power was in the West this year, that Portland, in fact, was the best team, and when the Lakers got by them, that the Lakers then were just going to put the Bulls away. But the Bulls team was a deceiving team. They did it with a very intricate offense in the half-court area, the ability to score in transition, and then the great team defense.
And Michael Jordan has answered a couple of questions. There have been doubters over the years whether a team led by Jordan could win a championship, and it is so rare for a team that has a scoring champion to go the distance.
And very similar to what happened to Detroit as they learned along the way. They lost to Boston in the Garden on the errant pass by Isaiah. Came back the following year, put Boston away, went on to the finals. They lose to the Lakers, but learn a lesson. They come back and win 2 world championships back to back. The Bulls have learned their lessons well. They've grown up. They win a championship.
Welcome back to my channel, sports fans. Okay, you heard it right there from LeBron about the 16 3-1 comeback, and you heard it from the media when Michael Jordan won his first championship, right? And that's the difference. LeBron told lies about coming back to win that championship against the Warriors, as we will expose. And the media told the truth about Michael Jordan's 1991 championship. So before we get into this, and the LeBron fans, they want to play dumb. Don't worry, we'll break it down. But what I will tell you is that 16 Warriors team is not beating the 91 Bulls. They're just not. I'm going to tell you and show you why they will not beat the 91 Bulls. Okay? We'll break that down a little bit later. And I'm going to tell you the 16 Cavs are not going to beat the Chicago Bulls. It's not going to happen. And it just gives me more reason to believe that the 16 Warriors are not the greatest team of all time. And, when they play these games of putting the 16 Warriors, no, my fault, the 17 Warriors against the 96 Bulls. Remember, they play these games. They say the 16 Warriors is the greatest team of all time. But they always want to put the 17 Warriors against the 96 Bulls. You see how that works? LeBron beat the greatest team of all time with the 16 Warriors, but the Bulls can't play the 96 Bulls can't play the 16 Warriors. That's the games that the media plays. Instead, they got to play the 17 Warriors with Durant. Because, look, this is what LeBron said. This is what basically he said in an interview. Not word by word, but close, right? When Doris Burke was interviewing him after the game. Now, notice he didn't give any credit to Kyrie hitting that game-winning shot. It's always about him. He said something like, against all odds, I don't know why we want to take the hardest road. Take the hardest road? Huh? How did you take the hardest road? I don't know why the man above gives me the hardest road. How did you get the hardest road? You got two other teams' number one franchise players that you built a super team with? That's the hard road? And before that, you were just in Miami with two other teams' number one franchise players. So when did you take the hard road? It ain't like you brought the Cavs from 2009 and 2010 and you brought them here to play the 16 Warriors. That's not the hardest road, homie. That's the easy road. You took the easy road. The 16 Warriors, they got this team from the draft. Curry, Clay, and Green. LeBron, you took the easy road. That's what you did. It ain't nothing that the man above don't put you in situations that you can't handle. Oh, goodness. Yeah, the man above put you in this situation. He wanted you to go out and build a super team with other teams' number one franchise players and take a shortcut, right? So when Doris Burke asked him about Game 5 and him having to beat the Warriors 2 times in a row, he said something about, I kept that same positive attitude instead of saying, why me? Also, LeBron states that in Game 5, he was locked in basically, he had to change his game. Really? Game 5? If we're not mistaken, you got Draymond Green suspended. He didn't even play in Game 5. Of course you had to change your game because Draymond Green wasn't there. And guess what? That's the game Curry came out and pooped his pants and put up like 12 points. So I said this before. Yeah, he didn't say nothing about Kyrie hitting that game-winning shot. He didn't say nothing like that. You know, this man almost lost that game, breaking up free throws at the end of the game. In Game 7 also, Curry. Did I say Kyrie? If I did, I meant Curry. He had 12 points in Game 5 when Draymond Green was gone. And then Curry in Game 7 shot another brick fest. And Kyrie hit the game-winning shot because LeBron was bricking all through the fourth quarter. So, of course, he didn't get no credit to Kyrie. And you see why Kyrie left, because the next season, they got whooped by the Warriors with Durant, and Kyrie outplayed Curry, and LeBron got rolled up by Durant. So, we'll talk about this more in a minute. So, we hear about what the media said after the 91 Bulls won the championship. The Bulls, they were surprised the Bulls were so dominant. And no one thought the Lakers would fall apart like that. No one gave the Bulls no credit throughout the season to win the championship, basically. Everyone felt that the balance of power was in the West, and that Portland was the best team in the West this year. But the Lakers got past them. Got past Portland. But everyone still felt that the Lakers were just going to put the Bulls away. People basically questioned Jordan, could he lead a team to a championship? And it was rare that a scoring champion could win a championship. So that's what the media said about Michael Jordan and the Bulls, right? It wasn't it wasn't Michael Jordan saying that, right? And then we all know later on Michael Jordan got interviewed and he gave all that credit to his teammates, and said that he wanted to give the trip to Disney, when you win the MVP, he wanted to give that trip to his teammates. And he gave all his teammates the credit for winning that championship. And another thing is, if you think that the 16 Warriors was the greatest team of all time, and that what the Cavs did in 16 was so great, let me explain this. And I've explained this before. Remember, Michael Jordan's career is so incredible that you're limited to only talk about certain things, because it makes everybody else's career look silly. So we talked about before, in this same 91 season that I'm talking about, what happened? Well, Jordan had a dynasty going against him in 2 series in a row, right? And he stopped 2 dynasties in 2 playoff series in a row. Well, what am I talking about? The Pistons were back in the Eastern Conference Finals, going for a 3-peat. We all know what happened there. Jordan swept them. So he stopped 1 dynasty, which was a 3-peat. And then he had to go play the Lakers, who was going for another dynasty. Remember, they was already a dynasty because they won 3 championships in the early 80s. But in 87, in 88, which was back-to-back, they were back in the finals in 91, which means if they would have won in 91, and guess what? You just heard it. They had the Lakers putting away the Bulls. That's what the media said. And if the Lakers would have won, that would have been another championship, 3 in 5 years, which would have been another dynasty. And Magic Johnson probably would have went down maybe the second greatest of all time. So Jordan had to stop 2 dynasties in back-to-back series. 2 dynasties from happening. I don't remember LeBron doing this. And he didn't even stop 1 dynasty because guess what? The Warriors had only won 1 championship. And that's because why? Kyrie went down and then Love went down. So, and LeBron took a 2-1 lead going back home and lost every game after that in 2015. So, if we want to be serious, they could have won that series, the Cavs. So, LeBron didn't stop no dynasty. The Warriors were lucky to win. Let's look at Cleveland in 2016. Pretty good team, right? You say that the Warriors were the greatest team of all time in 16? Well, let's look at that super team that the Cavs had. Well, they were the number 1 seed in the East. They beat Detroit 4-0 in the first round, beat Atlanta 4-0 in the second round, beat Toronto 4-2 in the third round. Let's look at the Warriors. They beat Houston 4-1 in the first round, they beat Houston 4-1 in the first round, beat Portland 4-1 in the second round. So as we get to the first and second round, I know it's 2 different conferences, but I'm just saying Cleveland has won 4-0 in the first and second round, and Golden State has lost a game in the first and second round. And when we go to the third round, Golden State barely beats Oklahoma City. We know about that series, right? They barely beat Oklahoma City 4-3, but yet Cleveland destroys Toronto 4-2, and we know what happened in the championship game. So, I mean, was that Warriors team really that good? Let's go to the 1991 playoffs. Let me punch this up. Let me pull up this bracket right here. So Chicago in the first round plays New York, beats them. Remember, back then it was only the best of 5, right? These guys get to play 7 in the first round. It's ridiculous. They just knew that if you was an 8 seed back then, there's no way you was gonna be the number 1 seed. So they only gave them 5 games. They just give handouts to the LeBron era. That's how they do it. So yeah, in the first round, they beat New York 3-0, swept them. Second round, beat Philly 4-1. Third round against Detroit, swept them. Right? Let's go down to the Lakers. They were a number 3 seed. Remember, it was Portland who was the number 1 seed that was supposed to go to the finals. So the Lakers, they beat Houston 3-0 in the first round. Second round, they beat Golden State 4-1. And they end up beating Portland 4-2. Portland looked like they was going to choke from the beginning because in the first round against Seattle, they beat them 3-2. In the second round, they did beat Utah 4-1. And like I said, they lost 4-2 in the third round to the Lakers. So when I look at this, I don't even know if Golden State was better than the Lakers. You know, they beat that Hakeem Olajuwon team 3-0 in the first round. Second round, they beat that Golden State team. If I'm not mistaken, they had Chris Mullin, Mitch Richmond, and Tim Hardaway on that team. Let me check it out now. Tim Hardaway, Chris Mullin, and Mitch Richmond on that team. So this is what I'm gonna tell you. Don't tell me nothing about, don't tell me nothing about the Golden State Warriors had to play OKC and that the Lakers didn't play a team like that. You must be out of your mind. You must be out of your mind. And the Lakers, of course, had to play Portland and beat Portland. So I'm not too sure that Golden State team is better than that 91 Lakers team. I'm just not so sure of it, man. You guys look at stuff as far as, oh man, these guys can shoot better. Well, if the defense ain't the same, what do you expect? These dudes could hand check back in the day. They could put elbows in the back of the post. They could do all this stuff. And you would have to get your points while somebody is doing that to you. Okay, it was actually big man in the game back then. I just don't believe it. So going back to what I was saying in the beginning, when you look at this, there's no way that Golden State team is beating the 91 Bulls team. No way. Because another thing is, what you guys don't remember or what you don't acknowledge, if these guys from back then played under these rules of no hand checking, no elbows in the post and stuff like that, guess what? They're scoring, it depends on what guy it is. Their averages, their points per game goes up 5 to 15 more points a game. That's what you guys don't understand. And what I would like to see is when they try to compare these teams and you say, oh man, they can't shoot the 3 or they can't do this, blah, 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 blah. Well, how about you just play your offense and we play our offense? You play your defense and we play our defense, and we're going to see who wins. Because you're not used to having defense actually mug you, full court, press you, and be all up on you while you're trying to shoot these shots. You're not used to it in the 2010s or even in this era. They have made the game easier because these guys don't have that kind of motor in the LeBron era. And they have changed these rules to make it easier for these guys, not for them, but for LeBron. And so LeBron can keep his longevity streak going, whatever that is. I don't know how people are talking about longevity when the guy is always missing all these games. Especially when you look at since he's came to LA. So there's no way that none of these teams, 16 Cavs or the 16 Warriors, in my opinion, is going to beat them 91 Lakers. And they damn sure ain't going to beat the 91 Bulls. Ain't no damn way in this world. I'm talking about these guys was sharp as a knife. For you to sweep the New York Knicks, only lose one game to Philly, and sweep the Pistons, and then you lose the first game to the Lakers and then beat them the rest, there's no way. There's no way. That team, I mean, I've never seen Horace Grant was great in 92, 93, but that year, this dude was so athletic. Scottie Pippen, he was on his game. Paxson, B.J. Armstrong, Michael Jordan was just something else. He went into those finals games, and he was like, I'm not losing this. I'm not going to lose the finals. I'm basically playing point guard. And what I'm going to do is you're going to come for me and try to stop me. And guess what? You're leaving all these dudes open. Or when I drive to the basket, you're focused on me. Now I can just dump it off. That's why he was averaging 11 assists per game. Because he wasn't going to let the Lakers beat him. He wasn't going to let them. So if you're going to focus on me anyways, I'm going to handle the ball, which means now you're going to focus on me more. And my guys are going to be wide open. And of course, I'm gonna guard Magic Johnson, but hell, I don't have to guard him all game because guess what? I'm doing the majority of the scoring, the ball handling, and I'm getting what did he get that game? Like 6 rebounds? Over 6 rebounds? Like 6.8 or something like that? I think he had a block a game. 35 points per game. So when people say, oh man, he didn't guard Magic Johnson all game. You guys are idiots. He's supposed to do everything? What was LeBron doing in 2017? Why wasn't he guarding Kevin Durant? Kyrie outplayed Curry. That team ain't that good, I'm trying to tell you. Just because they beat LeBron 4-1, most of those games were close in the fourth quarters. I ain't saying all of them, but some of them was. All you got to do is play some. I'm trying to tell you, man, Pippen is going to put that defense right now on Kevin Durant. He going to see something that we seen him in that Boston series when he played Boston. I mean, he looked lost when he was back playing with when he was playing with Brooklyn. Man, didn't know what to do. They were putting that 90s defense on him. Play some defense on him. He all he can do is do pull up shots. He's not going to do no up and unders, no crazy pump fakes. He's not going to make crazy shots like Michael Jordan, fadeaways and all this stuff like that. Kevin Durant ain't got them kind of skills. He's just a silky smooth shooter that'll shoot over you. 7 rebounds a game for a 7 foot. Come on, man. So, yeah, this is what LeBron lies about. Why God give him the hard road? What hard road? What, getting Draymond Green suspended? Building a super team? And having somebody else hit the game-winning shot for you? This is what this guy does. And the media continued, after he did that interview right after the game, they continued to make it look like he did something impossible coming back from 3-1. From the supposed best team of all time. They didn't prove they was the best team of all time. They didn't win the championship. They had the best record of all time. And for LeBron to let this guy win back-to-back MVPs in his prime, well, I wouldn't say it's his prime, but we did a video the other day about this. How this was LeBron's 3rd championship. Took him 13 years to win his 3rd championship, while Michael Jordan did it in 9 on a three-peat. On a three-peat. Tell me, what fundamental skills really? When we talk about player for player, when we talk about Michael Jordan against Curry, Scottie Pippen against Clay, what fundamentals really does Curry and Clay have on Michael Jordan as far as all-around fundamentals? Besides just posting up at a three-point line and shooting a three. I could tell you way more things. You could tell me Clay and Curry shoot the three better than Jordan. I can tell you a slew of things that Jordan and Pippen is better than Clay at. And let's be serious. Again, when we look at that team, that Warriors team, who was better at the time? LeBron James, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Love. All number one franchise players of another team. Two of them was number one overall picks. One of them was a top 5 pick. But all three of them was number one franchise players of another team at some time, right? And all of them, in my opinion, at that time, don't tell me who else was in the league, but to me, they had to be top 10 players at the time. Kyrie, LeBron, and Love. Also, who was better at the time? Draymond Green or Love? The accolades ain't even close. Who was better at the time? Kyrie or Clay? It's not even close. Go look at the accolades at the time. Who was better at the time? LeBron James or Curry? It's not even close. You guys are making up nonsense. The greatest team of all time, but they weren't better than the 3 players I just named head to head. Man, Curry just won back-to-back MVPs. That's on LeBron James. Remember, LeBron didn't win one MVP in his 30s. Remember, LeBron didn't make one defensive team in his 30s. Why is this true? And why is this? Because he didn't have to put the effort into it in his 30s because he built super teams through his 30s, right? So he didn't have to go above and beyond like at Cleveland, right? 2009, 2010. He had to put those teams on his back to get to the championships. Or he didn't make it he did in 07. But I'm talking about when he won the finals MVP. He had to put those teams on his back to have a great season. He had the best record in the league in back-to-back seasons where he got the MVP. But when he went to Miami and Cleveland and built these super teams, he no longer had to put these teams on his back. He no longer had to, really work on his game. And you'll say, oh, he won MVP over there in Miami. Well, he wasn't 30 years old yet. And he didn't deserve those MVPs because he was playing with 2 top 10 players at the time. That'd be like Michael Jordan playing with Charles Barkley and Karl Malone, or Karl Malone and Akeem Olajuwon. It's ridiculous. Or who was in the East? Him playing with Ewing and Charles Barkley at the time. Well, there's no more East. And Jordan wins back-to-back MVPs with playing with Ewing and Charles Barkley. How ridiculous does that sound? And then get beat in the finals 2 times after taunting the league when he joins the super team with Ewing and Barkley. I mean, it's so ridiculous what we seen in the NBA back then, and it's still true today. And as we continue to uncover the lies about the whole thing is, like I said, you can count on the media being fake since then, since LeBron built his first super team, in the NBA basically being a fake sports league. Tell me what you think.